Hello everyone, I'm Martin Brooks, pastor at Calvary United Methodist Church, and I'm very glad to be with you today to talk a little bit about what I have planned for Advent here at Calvary that I hope will be helpful as we prepare to talk about the coming of the Christ child again into our lives. Now, when we think about what the Israeli people were going through, they were very impatient people. They needed God to speak to them. They needed God to show them miracles, show them a sign. Well, the same was true in Jesus' day. Jesus would perform miracles after miracles, and the people would say, "Show us more miracles." When he fed the 5,000 people on by the sea with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, that was not enough to convince people that he was who he was, the Son of God. They kept saying, "Show us another sign." And she said, "But I just showed you that." They said, "Show us another sign." Well, I think you've heard the phrase, the more the things change, the more they stay the same. Well, here we are 2,000 years after Jesus walked the earth. And can't we relate to the people of Israel that needed a sign again and again? And the people of Jesus' time who needed a sign again and again? Impatience abounds in the time of Advent, the period leading up to Christmas. And a lot of our patience in our society comes around getting ready for Christmas. But when I talk to my church about getting ready for Christmas, I'm talking about getting them ready to allow the Christ child to enter their hearts again, anew, and to have that birth of Jesus to be a birth in a Christian's heart, that they will devote more earnestly their life to God and what God means for their lives. Now, but what I often find out is when people talk about getting ready for Christmas, they're not talking about getting ready to welcome Christ anew in their hearts. Some are, but many are talking about the family's on the way, I've got to buy presents, I've got to wrap the presents, maybe if I've got to assemble some of the presents, I've got to get a tree, I've got to get the right lights, I've got to get the right bulbs and the tinsel. And boy, I've got to get the house clean for when my in-laws show up, because they're going to be really upset if my house isn't just so. And somewhere along the way, I've got to get my family to church on Christmas Eve. It's always a struggle, but it's so important we go to Christmas Eve and light candles. And then that night, boy, am I going to get any sleep getting the last few presents ready before my children wake up at 6 a.m. and run down to the Christmas tree. But at Advent, what I really hope that we explore at Calvary is this idea of waiting, and waiting joyfully in anticipation of something that God is going to do for us. We see patience in Jesus' life as his disciples and the crowd surrounding him, wanting something, and simply being present for people. He was the light of the world. And he demonstrated God's patience. And God challenges us to be patient as we wait expectantly for Christ. I want to encourage Calvary not to get caught up in the busyness of the season about getting ready for Christmas Day, but to prepare their hearts calmly and expectantly for what Jesus might be able to do in their lives when Jesus arrives anew on Christmas Day. And that's what we're going to do this Advent, is to really think about how can we learn patience? How can we see waiting as not just that annoying time before the real thing happens, but that God can enter our lives during a period of waiting expectantly for something. Now, God is always with us. And Emmanuel is not just something that happens on Christmas Day. Emmanuel can happen at the time of waiting. God with us, saying, it's going to happen. Be expectant. Be excited. Maybe be a little bit scared or worried about what's going to happen. But know, God says, that I am with you. I, God, am with you. And that's a joyous thing.